Hello, Security Token Market. My name is Kyle Sonlin. Welcome back. And I'm joined here with Neeraj Satija from the CTO of Edge 196. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here, Kyle.
So we're here at the Digital Assets and Securities Conference here in Austin, Texas. Could you tell us a little bit about what Edge 196 is doing in the tokenization space?
So Edge 196 is a VC company that invests in startups. We have 25 companies in our portfolio at the moment. Predominantly all technology companies. Last few investments have been in blockchain companies that are trying to unlock a value in a vertical using the technology of tokenization and the distributed ledger technology, that's blockchain. And we saw very early on the value that this technology can unleash, right? Because all those good things about being tamper-proof, being immutable, allowing the peer-to-peer transaction, taking the middleman out, and enabling all that disruptive innovation by creating these seamless workflows, and above all, monetizing this trade with the help of the tokenization technology. We saw that early on, and we gravitated towards investment in companies that were in that field. In the last couple of years, we have specialized on companies that are doing a mix of both utility tokens and security tokens. And like you know, Kyle, it is a space that's still evolving. There's a lot of compliance and regulatory haziness. So while we are looking at these companies, we're also keeping an eye out on what the SEC is saying, keeping an eye out on what the SEC equivalent in other countries are saying. So that's been our predominant focus last few years.
Well, I'm so happy to be sitting down with you today because with security tokens, I think that the investor, the capital side, is the one piece that we really haven't had a strong presence in the space. There's a lot of industry, financial service providers that are building the rails. There are more issuers that are beginning to come out, but without a strong investor community, it's tough to attract those highest quality assets because of that. So what, from a thesis perspective, what attracts you to the idea of a security token? And maybe more so than that, looking past just the structure of a security token, what kinds of assets are you looking to actually invest in in the space?
So Kyle, Edge 196 is bringing out a security token by the name of EdgeQ. Which, like you know, security tokens represent a digital share in the organization. So investors in EdgeQ would basically get a stake in Edge 196, which includes all our portfolio companies, all our IPs, all our assets.
Are those LP shares that they're
all LP shares?
Perfect.
One of the big things that we are wanting to do is provide liquidity to promising companies that are voted by our community.
Interesting.
So we have a two-token model. One token is the security token EdgeQ. There's another token which is more utility token. And through the community and the process of governance, we're getting the power in the hands of the community to vote for startups that they would like to see invested.
Interesting.
So with those companies that the community says, yep, we like that, that's a promising company, we invest in those companies, and the liquidity that goes into those companies is in the mix of, we agree with them on the shape of that liquidity. Some of it is fiat, some of it is not. But the idea is to empower them to build these platforms that are going to create a lot of value and disruptive innovation in their special niche area.
That's fascinating. So there's a lot to unpack here. So let's start with this two-token model. So starting with the security token, we've seen previous examples of LP interests that have been tokenized, but it's drawn a little bit of criticism from some analysts in the space, including Sam Sachs and myself and others, about how they are indirect economic interest tokens, and which means that for anyone listening, where you might own a share and those are burned on the secondary market instead of distributing dividends or that waterfall out to LPs through the actual token itself, which would be a direct economic interest. I think it's maybe a preferred model. Is that the one that you're exploring instead of kind of that kind of antiquated indirect model?
We're trying to make it, like I said before, everything has to be compliant. So we're working very closely with our legal team to understand the mandate from SEC. For that reason, we go through a process which, like for the U.S. investors, it's everybody goes through their KYC, AML. That's regardless of who they are. But then we look at their accreditation status, and then we look at how much money they want to invest and so on. And these investors are then, the biggest advantage for them is a typical investor in a VC is locked in for 7 years. When they come and invest through us, there is no such 7-year term. There's a 90-day period that's mandated by the SEC, and after that, they can exit whenever there is an opportunity for them to exit, right? Which can be on the 91st day, or they can be in that game for as long as possible. So the liquidity, which is probably the single biggest problem facing this industry, is what we are trying to tackle through this model. We are also constructing a marketplace, Edge 196 marketplace. Think of it like the Amazon for investors and startups and partners.
Wow.
So investors that are looking to invest in promising startups can come in and see the deal flow. Startups that are looking to raise capital can be onboarded and look at, potential investors. And in this conference, we met some interesting companies like Dealbox and a couple of others that are partners of Vertalo that will help through that standardization and maturity process that this marketplace needs, so that when a startup onboards themselves, they are able to present all the relevant facts in a professional manner to attract capital. So when the community votes through that governance process, the probability of getting a thumbs up goes up, and when they get that investment is from us, which is the mainstream area for us. But then we also have a secondary stream, which is we can facilitate a direct relationship between the investors and the startup. So if the investor wants to go and talk to the startup directly, we welcome that as well.
So let's talk, so we talked about the security token, and there's two other pieces we have here. We've got the existing fund, and then this governance token model. So let's start with the fund structure. You've already made and deployed capital already. Are you still actively investing in the space, or are you currently trying to sell additional LP shares? How is that process working right now? And are your LPs that you already have, are they already tokenized, or what is that process?
So the short answer is yes, we're still, multiple questions, but we're doing a bit of both, Kyle. So while we are building our marketplace, launching our security token, we are still investing in startups. A lot of that investment has come from the previous investments that have done well for us.
Okay.
Our founder, Dr. Jay Patel, has funded a lot of our initial growth. So that is what's carried us through, but we are looking to build this community and have launch of these tokens. For utility token, we're talking to some prominent centralized exchanges, as well as planning to list on decentralized exchanges. Okay. For security token, we are here for a reason, right? Vertalo conference, and we're talking to some of the partners because we have a very ambitious target for our fundraise.
Absolutely. So the final question I have here is relating the fund and the security token to this governance structure. Are the governance tokens going to be related to the LP shares initially, and then maybe potentially resold, or is there going to be a separate distribution event for those governance shares?
So, great question. We do not have a separate governance token.
Okay.
The two-token model, which includes a utility token, that utility token is going to serve as the governance token as well. But it's going to be, you can compare it with ETH in that there are a lot of other use cases for that token
inside the marketplace and the things you're building.
So to elaborate on that point a little bit more, I said to you, this is like Amazon for marketplace, for Amazon for investors and startups. There's a third stakeholder there as well, which is service providers. right? So service provider could be a content writer, it could be a website developer, it could be a lawyer, it could be a marketing person. So when a startup needs a marketing person or an investor needs a legal person, they can engage from a list of approved and validated list of service providers on our platform and pay them for their service using our utility token. So there's a bunch of different use cases built in,
Right.
one of which is the governance part of it. And like I said to you, our plan is to have it listed on, we're talking to some launch pads to have it listed on a launch pad. We're going to have it listed on a DEX, a decentralized exchange, and some centralized exchanges. Our plans are to build it to a stage where it eventually gets listed on the big ones like Binance and Coinbase.
That's all exciting stuff. I guess the last thing for anyone listening that wants to learn more, wants to get involved in whether as a, as a potential portfolio company in the future or as an investor or a participant, where are they going to find out more information? How do they stay in touch?
Edge196.com is the best place to find us. That's our corporate website, but we are prominent on all the social media. We got a Twitter handle, we got Instagram, we got Telegram. So yeah, come and find us there and we'll be happy to talk to you.
Well, Neeraj, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate
Thanks,
you coming
Kyle.
on. We'll talk to you next time.